Hello, fair humans. I'm hoping that you're out there, and wow, I'm getting totally overpowered by the things I have open on my screen. Let me switch there. Dark mode is less terrible. Oh, so today is a super bittersweet day with absolutely no news for the daily space other than news that news will be coming. So, things that are happening today that you may not get to fully hear about because of the US government shutdown. Today, the OSIRIS-REx mission is going into orbit around Bennu. Now, orbit means it has basically managed to very carefully match its speed to the potential well around Bennu so that as long as it doesn't sneeze, which spacecraft don't do, so it's fine, it will continue to orbit this 500 meter across-ish object and continue to, well, do amazing things. So in addition to OSIRIS-REx going into orbit, we also have, in case you've been living in a small dark cave somewhere and didn't already know, the New Horizons mission is getting to Ultima Thule, the little tiny ball of ice that it is going to fly past in our outer solar system. With all this science going on, it is unsurprising that everyone else out in the astronomy and planetary science community is just kind of holding their breath, sitting on their hands, not putting out any press releases because they kind of know nobody is going to get attention except for OSIRIS-REx and New Horizons. Now, one of the frustrations about all of this is with the government shutdown, most people working for NASA, including at NASA TV, are considered unessential personnel, and they're not even allowed to work as volunteers. A very specific memo went out saying that people would not be allowed to do any speaking engagements they had scheduled. People wouldn't be allowed to go to conferences. They couldn't work from home. They couldn't volunteer their efforts. It was very specifically laid out. This means that all the people working at NASA supporting these two spacecraft, missions they might have been working on for decades, aren't allowed to participate in these ground-breaking exercises. In addition to what's going on with OSIRIS-REx and New Horizons, we also have the InSight mission sitting on Mars, just waiting to deploy its next scientific instrument. It's a hard time out there. It's a hard time for a lot of us. And for those of us here at CosmoQuest, it's also an exceedingly bittersweet day. When we first launched back in 2012, we launched with a New Horizons citizen science project, one that went on to find all the needed images of two different Kuiper Belt objects that we could define their orbits and publish our results with all the names of the citizen scientists who participated in that publication. CosmoQuest was part of that. With OSIRIS-REx, we've tested the software needed to find that rock. The OSIRIS-REx mission is going to bring back from Bennu. Our next really big non-Earth-based citizen science project is going to be a project to map Bennu. Thank you, Novatus Veritas, for the subscription. So we have a lot of really cool stuff going on tied to both these spacecraft. And today is the last day that we have NASA funding for CosmoQuest. My team and I are going to be working the entirety of the day to get CosmoQuest ready just as the clock strikes midnight to flip over to a new site design, one that hopefully you will enjoy more and will help you do more science. So we're going to work right up to the last. And starting tomorrow, we're going to see what we can do with the donations provided by all of you, because you are Our Obi-Wan, our final hope. As you can see down below me, we are in the process of trying to raise funding for CosmoQuest. We need $60,000 to get part-time through 6 months. Currently, we're just over 3 months worth of effort being possible. Thank you, Canada Kim, for the bits. Tomorrow, I'm going to be breaking down a budget and figuring out just what we're going to be able to accomplish. And then I'm going to be starting to write grants, reach out to policymakers and foundations around the world, asking for help to just make a little bit more science possible. So that's what's going on. Now, you may have noticed I'm not exactly in my normal place. This is because, as I said, we're going to be programming our asses off today, getting CosmoQuest ready for tomorrow. And as part of that, I'm in my comfy clothes. I am wearing jeans and a hoodie. I have my coffee at the ready, and I'm currently sitting in my comfy chair with my 34-inch monitor in front of me, my lap desk before me, ready to just get shit done. Today, here at CosmoQuest X on Twitch, thank you, Hamand, for the follow. Today, here at CosmoQuest X on Twitch, we're going to be doing everything we can to keep you up to date with what's going on with New Horizons and all the other science coming out silently from NASA. Annie Wilson, my co-streamer, is going to be going back and forth with me as she covers a lot of the New Horizons activities. I'm going to be bringing you in to see what's going on with the CosmoQuest website. And together, we're going to try and keep you engaged in absolutely everything. Now, this means that the stream is going to be going off and on all day. There will be breaks while either we break the website. Things may go a bit Picasso now and then, but hopefully not on any publicly facing websites. But we're going to be here to bring it all to you. Now, I don't really have much to say other than that today because, as I said, there's no news coming out of anywhere, and we're just kind of holding our breath, waiting to see what comes out on Twitter. And hopefully, we will get good news. So what I'm seeing right now is a retweet from Daniel Fisher of the New Horizons flyby, where Launchpad Astra is doing a stream about it. I see, what else do I see? Goldstone is currently talking with the New Horizons mission. Alan Stern has released a piece in the New York Times about today's encounter. And yeah, everything is getting closer and closer and closer. Now, for those of you wondering how it is that we have two different spacecraft, both getting to interesting worlds exactly on New Year's Eve, this is because there are people out there who really want to make sure you get as much of a chance to enjoy all of the science with us as possible. And to make that possible, they're kind of torturing us. So good folks like, I've been told, Alex Parker, have done the orbital dynamics to figure out how exactly to fire the mission's thrusters so that these special moments in space science come on federal holidays where most of us aren't at work. This does mean the entire space science community doesn't get to spend holidays with our families, except for our work families, but like our biological families, our married families, the families that we have outside of work, yeah, they probably hate space science. So this is quite purposefully done. Both the OSIRIS-REx team and the New Horizons team scheduled their missions and scheduled their orbital maneuvers precisely so that this holiday would be their mission day, because it's way easier to tell people, hey, we're getting to this object on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day than it is to say we're doing it on January 4th. No one will remember January 4th. They will remember New Year's Eve. So that's why it's all happening today. It's because orbital dynamics and our desire to share with you. And I am so running out of spousal permission units because astronomy really does ruin pretty much every holiday for the science community. So show some love to the families of the space scientists in your life. They need it. So I'm here to take any questions you may have. And go ahead and at me in the chat, and I will do what I can to answer any questions you may have. Yes, Prof. Melko. I don't know if other sciences have this, but in astronomy, we always talk about spousal permission units because astronomy is really one of those fields where our job is mean to our spouse. We go outside and we freeze to death observing and come home with really cold appendages. We're out all hours. We travel all over the world constantly. Our conferences are either right before Christmas ruining Thanksgiving or right after Christmas ruining Christmas and New Year's. All of our spacecraft do interesting things on holidays. So yeah. Spousal permission units is a very important thing in astronomy that we run out of quite frequently. Oh, they're starting to post pictures of what's going on out at APL. The hashtag Ultima Thule is the place to look. Thank you, Prof. Milka. Thank you so much for the bits. So we have confirmation. Everything is on target for the encounter this evening. Yes, Hanny, you're entirely right. They do need to be replenished. Hey, Fenring, it's a bittersweet day around here. It's a very bittersweet day. But we will be streaming all the bittersweetness as we work to close things out. What? Okay, I don't think that's the actual Elon Musk. But that's awesome. I don't know where that $100 just came from. It would be amazing. The message tied to that donation is Donald Trump the great filter in the Fermi paradox? I am so deeply confused and amused simultaneously. Okay. That was fabulous. That was fabulous. So someone right now typed their username into Streamlabs as Elon Musk for $100 amazing donation, for which I'm completely grateful and confused because I want to know who I can actually thank. And the note on the donation was, is Donald Trump the great filter in the Fermi paradox? Which is kind of why I know it probably wasn't the actual Elon Musk. Okay, I won't ruin it for you. I won't ruin it for you. Hey, X. Oh my God, dog X. I don't think I've seen your username here before. Thank you for joining the chat. Do we have rockets that land on their feet? Why, yes, we do. Yeah, I really want it to be too. So I don't know if he'd remember it, but I've actually had dinner with Elon Musk. It happened long ago in a country far away known as Britain. It was while I was at Oxford. It was one of those actual nights causing spousal permission units to be lost. I was in England both for vacation and for a couple of work meetings, and my husband was with me, and I went to a hoity-toity fancy pants dinner at Oxford College, at one of the colleges at Oxford, got dinner with Elon Musk and several others, and my husband went to the movies and then to a pub. We really do go through spousal permission units in this field. So, yes. Hey, JStar69, welcome. Um, welcome. Yes, Veronica Cure. I'm totally taking care of myself today while programming. It is all about the coffee and the comfort. So, hoodies, jeans, comfy chair, the whole 9 yards. So Paul Melko is asking, do you think government shutdowns will affect launch targets for NASA's SpaceX? It depends on how long the shutdown lasts. They are allowing mission critical people to continue working, and in fact are mandating that they work without pay. Now, I've seen this happen before in the state of Illinois. This is actually part of why CosmoQuest originally left Southern Illinois University. It was more complicated than that. The truth is always more complicated, but it was one of the factors. The state of Illinois had gone without a budget for a couple of years, and as a result, the state had stopped paying out medical insurance. So you go to the doctor, and the doctor demands cash. There'd been no pay raises for years and years and years. And the result of this was that Illinois suffered a brain drain. Anyone who could get a new job did. Anyone that could be fired was, because there simply wasn't any funding. And this meant that the few people that were remaining simply didn't have the resources they needed to do their job, but were required to do far more than just their job. And it had a very devastating effect on education and everything else. So, yeah. The infamous Captain Pooh, I think it depends on the reason it is occurring. There are what are called fecal transplant medical treatments that sometimes have to occur, in which case it's the chocolate flavored. But that's science. So Hannes Vorvrup is asking, is JPL part of the government? No. JPL is actually in a really, really weird situation. So NASA Goddard, part of the government. NASA Kennedy, part of the government. These are NASA centers that are funded directly through the government. JPL is a research center that is contractually funded. I don't know if there's any civil servants working there, but in general, the people that work at JPL are contractors. And contractors can work up until their allocated funds go away. So people who are on grants, who have contracts, this is where you may have heard that like the Smithsonian Institute is able to keep, and the National Zoo is able to keep its doors open, I think until today. That's when their allocation runs out and they have to shut their doors. So we have this situation where we have to figure out, is someone a grant holder, a contractor, or a direct government funded individual? A civil servant is clearly government. And based on what category they fall into is how the shutdown affects them. In a lot of cases, universities will actually tell grant holders, don't worry, we'll float you until this is over. But even universities can only go so long. So the duration of the shutdown, the longer it lasts, the more people are going to be affected. The most devastating side effect of this is going to be there are a large number of grants that renew January 1. And people who are waiting for their grant renewal letter, if they didn't get it before the shutdown, they may not have their funding allocation, which means their universities may not allow them to hire their grad students, their postdocs, their soft money researchers. The first people to be harmed are always the most junior. And I suspect there's going to be graduate students all over the nation in all areas of science and research who no longer have their tuition paid for, no longer have jobs, and don't know how they're going to eat, because when you're in graduate school, you literally live paycheck to paycheck. So the first ones to be harmed are going to be our most brilliant minds who are trying to get those advanced degrees. Yeah, fun times, fun times. Um, so Novitas Veritas is commenting, when there's a government shutdown, do NASA employees have to stop working, or can some of them choose to contribute? No, they actually received a very specific letter stating they are not allowed to volunteer their efforts. If they volunteer, they are actually in trouble. So this means that you have more freedom to volunteer to help science than someone who works for the government. It's kind of a weird universe we live in. So Henny Zworverp is asking, has space been shown to have any effect on gut bacteria, negative or positive? Um, there is research on this. I don't remember right now the outcome of the research. We have talked a lot about biological things in space on Astronomy Cast. It was, I want to say, last year, so you should be able to find those episodes. Um, yeah, Binary Blaze. A lot of those graduate students are international, and not only do they not have a support system, but an international student who works as a graduate assistant or a teaching assistant gets a tuition waiver, and they get treated as an in-state student. A graduate student who doesn't have that graduate assistantship, who's international, suddenly has to pay international tuition. That can be 5 to 10 times more than in-state tuition. This can mean a jump from $5,000 a semester to $23,000 a semester in one case that I recently saw. So it's truly devastating. There are going to be people who have to leave the country and leave their education. It's bad. So hopefully things will get sorted out before the semester begins. I can't affect everything. So there's some interesting comparisons coming out of what's going on at JPL, not JPL, APL, the Advanced Physics Labs at Johns Hopkins University. Sophia Gad Nasser just posted an amusing picture where they have a representation of Ultima Thule superimposed on the city of Baltimore, and it like covers downtown. Ultima Thule is only 30 kilometers across. So half hour's drive on the highway and you can drive the diameter of Ultima Thule. So other questions out there. Yeah, Susie Murph, jeans are pants. I do hate them, but when you're planning to code all day, sometimes you need something a little more resilient than just leggings. Thank you, our Instro. Thank you so much. Um, so, looking to see what other questions there may be. Hey, Sleeper Sai, welcome. So, okay, things I know that are going on today. In roughly half an hour, Binary Ablaze, our own Annie Wilson, is going to be taking over the stream to bring you the news coming out of the Advanced Physics Laboratories at Johns Hopkins University. When you see APL JHU, that's what it's talking about. This is a government-funded research facility on the campus of Johns Hopkins. This is the same campus that also supports the Space Science Telescope Institute. They are hopefully going to be able to live stream a press briefing starting in 30 minutes. We're going to do everything we can to bring you everything we can. I see Henny Zworverp is asking, could the shutdown affect university courses next semester? It shouldn't affect university courses. University courses should be supported by and large, there are exceptions, through tuition dollars and state funding. Universities are generally tuition and state funding. or simply private institutions that are driven off of their endowment and the tuition. Now, what will be affected at universities is if there's not enough grant money coming into the university, you are going to see a lack of resources. Courses will still be going on, but the longer this lasts, the fewer resources will be around. Other things that could be impacted is ROTC funding, which means that the students who are funded through ROTC might start to be in jeopardy. The institution getting any grants that they have for course development not paid out, and any grants that they have for major infrastructure at the institute not getting paid out. So to give you an example, the National Science Foundation has institutional grants to fund the development of the infrastructure needed to put universities on Internet 2, which is the high-speed backbone used strictly for researchers, where we're able to throw data around terabytes at a time without tanking the rest of the internet. So things like this do rely on government funding, but individual courses should still be okay. Now, like I said, there will be side effects. So like an astronomy class that's planning to use a national telescope may not be able to do so. And of course, there are government websites that are systematically getting shut down. They get used as classroom resources. So the courses will still be happening. We have the Wayback Machine. It's not pretty out there. So Novitas Veritas is saying, have you heard that Scott Kelly's telomeres elongated in space? If we find out how exactly it happened and how to make it happen artificially, this could be the first step towards beating the aging process. So comparing Mark and Scott Kelly is leading us to a lot of confusion on the pros and cons. Not confusion, a lot of pros and cons, which lead to confusing, is it good to go to space kinds of reasoning. So going to space, you end up with permanent vision problems if you stay for a while. It affects your bones, which can cause permanent problems. There are results that I haven't read. I just saw headlines on telomeres, which affect your aging process. So in a lot of ways, going to space is bad. But at the same time, in a lot of ways, going to space is good. And I currently have a puppy trying to join the web stream. So Henny's Warverp is asking, are we going to get images today, or are we just going to know that the mission went well? I think that the images are reported for 9 a.m. tomorrow, Central Time, 10 a.m. So the briefing tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific is when we're going to start hearing about when we may be getting images. So welcome. I am not Sook. Welcome. It is almost 2019. It is almost 2019. Okay, so do we have any more science questions? And again, be back in 30 minutes when Annie Wilson takes over the channel. Thank you so much, Major Morve. I can't pronounce French. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for the follow. But I have programmers who are arriving here to get to programming, so I do need to go. I will be bouncing in and out all day, bringing you updates on the progress we're making on updating CosmoQuest X. We may be losing our funding, but we're not going away. So stay tuned for more coming to you from CosmoQuest X. Thank you, Trekker Kev, for the bits. We're going to do everything we can to keep bringing you the science. I will see you on the other side. Thank you, Veronica Cure, for the bits. You just don't want me to hang up, do you? Thank you all for everything that you do. And wherever you are in the world, have a fabulous morning, evening, afternoon, and New Year's. And remember to get outside and look up. Bye-bye.